Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering Bud Light. Bud Light is in a lot of trouble right now. It's not just the sales. They have an enemy that's out to get Anheuser-Busch, and his name is Anson Frericks. He's a former president of Anheuser-Busch for sales and distribution. He knows all the secrets of Bud Light. He knows Brendan Whitworth personally, the guy who's the current CEO of Anheuser-Busch. He is criticizing the company nonstop. Fox News, Daily Mail, Wall Street Journal, New York Post, Newsweek. This guy is everywhere, and he is not pulling any punches. He is telling people exactly what needs to happen with the CEO of Anheuser-Busch and how they need to fix the company. And as far as he's concerned, the company is way too woke and the CEO has to go. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you. I'm trying to get to 30,000 subscribers, so if you can subscribe, please do subscribe. Coming from Business Insider, a former Anheuser-Busch executive has become one of the Bud Light makers' fiercest critics. He's absolutely the fiercest critic. I have been following this story very carefully since April of this year. There is not one person that has made as many critical comments about Anheuser-Busch and Bud Light as Anson Fredericks, and certainly not in as many different publications. Kevin O'Leary has criticized them, but nobody is like Anson Fredericks, who is genuinely frustrated with a company that he knows does not have to be in this terrible situation. He obviously loves the company, he loves the brands, and he just wants to see the company do the right thing for the customers. It doesn't mean you're going to start drinking the beer again. It just means that the customers who were wronged by the woke marketing executives at Bud Light need to apologize to their customers and apologize to the distributors for what they did. A former Anheuser-Busch executive is stepping up his public criticism of how the company is dealing with a controversy that has tanked sales of the company's Bud Light brand, in addition to several other Anheuser-Busch brands. I know I see a lot in the comments, people reminding each other, don't buy the other Anheuser-Busch brands either, and that's great that you're doing that. There are multiple brands, and those are suffering too. Sales dropped, and conservatives called for boycotts of the top-selling beer after an April social media promotion by transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney. The company's response has also come under fire from LGBT advocates who've called on the company to stand behind the transgender community. Anheuser-Busch's U.S. CEO Brendan Whitworth has avoided explicitly defending the partnership with Mulvaney, but has also declined to call the collaboration a mistake. Brendan Whitworth has not been straight with the public, has not been straight with the media, distributors, customers. He's just trying to hope if he avoids the situation that eventually it'll take care of itself. Well, that's not working. Meanwhile, former Anheuser-Busch sales and distribution president Anson Fredericks, a vocal critic of corporate ESG, environment, social, and governance policies, is now calling for Whitworth to resign. Fredericks told Business Insider that Anheuser-Busch and Whitworth's responses to the backlash have failed to, quote, address the problem head on and have continued to divide customers and hurt their sales. He's failed to address the issue 3 times now, Fredericks said of Whitworth. Whitworth released 2 statements responding to the backlash in April and June before making an appearance on CBS. Anson Fredericks has been on, I see articles with him every week that he's commenting on. I see interviews with Anson Fredericks every week. He's been on Fox Business 3 or 4 times. He's been on the regular Fox channel several times. He's doing about 10 times as much media as Brendan Whitworth at Anheuser-Busch. Quote, I guess you could use the baseball analogy that he's had 3 strikes and now he's out. Earlier this week, Fredericks continued his scrutiny of the company in an interview with Newsweek, saying, quote, Anheuser-Busch did not understand their customer base and kind of also where their customer base is in terms of what messaging they want to see from Bud Light. A spokesperson for Anheuser-Busch would not respond to Business Insider's request for comment. Anheuser-Busch's critic wraps focus on social issues. Fredericks' comments added to the barrage of criticism he's leveled at the beer brand since April. Fredericks wrote an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal explaining the brand was focused on stakeholder capitalism, which he wrote prioritizes broad social issues over shareholder value. Frericks was president of sales and distribution at Anheuser-Busch from October 2021 until he left the company in April 2022 after nearly 11 years there. He also got 2 promotions from Brendan Whitworth, who is now the current CEO of Anheuser-Busch, and he's still calling for Brendan Whitworth to get pulled out of the company. Frericks is now the president of Strive Asset Management. Strive is an anti-ESG investing firm, so an anti-woke investing firm, whose stated mission is to restore the voices of everyday citizens in the American economy by leading companies to focus on excellence over politics. Frericks told Business Insider he left Anheuser-Busch on his own terms to start Thrive. He co-founded the company with conservative firebrand Vivek Ramaswamy, who's now running for president on an anti-woke platform. So these are guys that are hardcore anti-woke, no question about it. Frericks has taken a similar approach with other companies. In February, Frericks wrote a letter to Salesforce's CEO, Mark Benioff, in which he called on the company to, quote, stop pushing the business as a platform for social change. Now Anheuser-Busch has gotten involved with issues that he's been fighting against, Frericks told Business Insider. Quote, until we find a CEO that's going to address this head on, I don't think the situation is going to go away, Frericks told Business Insider. In the best interests of shareholders, they need to find a CEO who will address this head on. We'll continue to see sales drop and shelf space at the retailers lost, and that will put thousands of people's jobs at risk, both at Anheuser-Busch and at wholesale partners. And also, of course, the bottling plants that got shut down. 645 jobs destroyed with 2 bottling plants shut down because they no longer can supply Bud Light. And they can't supply Bud Light because people aren't buying the beer. Frericks expressed similar sentiments on Monday when he spoke to Fox News about Anheuser-Busch's drop in sales and called the promotion with Mulvaney a mistake. Quote, I think I'm even more shocked, though, about the lack of clear response that the current CEO has delivered during this crisis, Frericks told Fox News. There's going to be more employees at risk if we don't find a CEO who can somehow address the situation, get those customers back that were always loyal to Bud Light, and move this company forward, Frericks told Fox. In 2019, Bud Light released rainbow patterned beer bottles during Pride Month, and formerly had received a Best Place to Work for LGBT Equality title from the country's largest LGBT advocacy group, a title the Human Rights Campaign removed in May. Still, Frericks told Insider that he believes that the promotion with Mulvaney wasn't authentic for the brand, saying, quote, Bud Light was never a brand where its customers wanted to focus on political issues. Dylan Mulvaney wasn't the right choice for the brand as well, Frericks said. If Anheuser-Busch can't stand by this sponsorship with Mulvaney, they should never have done the promotion in the first place. Frericks has also explained in other interviews that Bud Light was already inclusive. Everyone used to drink the beer. Gay, straight, Democrat, Republican, whatever. People just drank the beer. It wasn't political. And they had a policy when he was there at Anheuser-Busch to never get involved with politics and to never do a sponsorship with a controversial person. There is zero question that Dylan Mulvaney was not at least controversial. The dip in Bud Light sales persisted through the end of June, USA Today reported. To alleviate fallout, the company announced it was sending financial support to wholesalers impacted by the boycott, and rolled out a new summer campaign spotlighting their frontline workers. I cover the drop in sales very closely every week. They're terrible. The sales are horrendous. The volume was down in this past week 31.2%, literally 31.2% less bottles and cans physically sold in stores. Even though they have a 100% rebates where the beer is free, they have other promotions where the beer is just heavily discounted, some where it's 33 cents a can. People won't touch it. People don't want to be seen with it. I have other reports showing 60% off in their year-to-year sales for Memorial Day in Florida, 50% down in Staten Island, New York, 40% down in Delaware, 45% down in Pennsylvania. The sales are absolutely terrible. And I get my numbers either from mass media articles or directly from Bump Williams, who's agreed to send me the numbers every week. Woke promotions are failing. And there's no way to hide that it's failing. There's no way to say, well, it's the summertime, or, well, you know, it was COVID. No, it's black and white. It's obvious they were trying to push a social agenda with Dylan Mulvaney. And when they did it, they got caught and it collapsed the brand. And other companies are noticing it as well. Target noticed it. There's something going on in Hollywood right now. This is a whole separate article. Hollywood is completely freaking out. This just came out yesterday, actually an hour after I did a video on the subject with another reference. From Hollywood Reporter, Hollywood diversity initiatives may be challenged after Supreme Court affirmative action ruling. The justice's decision to strike down race-conscious admissions could have a chilling effect and cause elevated scrutiny around diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, legal experts say. This is in their legal division. And the reason for that is because the entire basis for diversity, equity, and inclusion and all of the race-based hiring that Hollywood and all of mainstream business has been trying to push was based on the idea that it created a more diverse environment. That justification was removed by the Supreme Court. It's no longer allowed in college admissions, but it's also not allowed in employment. And they know it very well in the legal circles. And that's why they were very upset, because they may have just broken the woke agenda with this Supreme Court ruling. I will do a separate video on this story. It's a very big story. Of course, all the promotion that Bud Light is doing now, whether it's a video or rebates or a post on Twitter, it's all considered to be a joke. It's mocked, it's offensive, and everybody hates it. Everyone who could possibly hate Bud Light now hates Bud Light. They have ruined the brand. Dylan Mulvaney posted a video at the end of June alleging that Bud Light never reached out to apologize and make sure that Dylan felt okay after all the controversy that was caused by their promotional collaboration. Quote, "For a company to hire a trans person and not publicly stand by them is worse, in Dylan's opinion, than not hiring a trans person at all." Of course, the reason no one actually contacted Dylan Mulvaney to have a nice chat with Dylan was because the vice president, Alyssa Heinerscheid, was forced to leave the company over this failed promotion, and so was her boss, Daniel Blake. And that probably explains why nobody picked up the phone just to say hi. Quote, "Deep down, it's a great company with great brands," Fredericks said. But unfortunately, they don't have a leader who can rectify this situation, and they need a clear path out of this. Now they're 4 months into this controversy, and there's no end in sight. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think Bud Light is pretty much dead? Do you think they have any chance to come back? Is there any kind of ad or promotion they could do that would get people interested in drinking their beer again? It definitely doesn't look like it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.